Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone here this morning while we discuss a very, very important issue. We have mayors up here, and I'd like to introduce them. First of all, our CEO, Tom Cochran, former past presidents, Don Plasqualik of Akron, Ohio, Elizabeth Kautz, Burnsville, Minnesota, Michael Nutter, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Boy, how soon we transition. We're also joined by our new officers, Vice President Mayor Kevin Johnson of Sacramento, California, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake of Baltimore, Maryland, Mayor Steve Benjamin of Columbia, South Carolina, who leads the conferences. I got one step ahead of myself in this effort, and we also are pleased to be joined by our host mayor, Carolyn Goodman of Las Vegas, and Mayor Marie Lopez Rogers, President of the National League of Cities. Municipal bonds are the lifeblood of cities. Streets wouldn't be paved, schools wouldn't be built, many hospitals wouldn't be built without municipal bonds. For the last 100 years, we have followed a system where the municipal financing in our nation has been exempt from federal income taxes. This is a system that has worked not only well, it has formed the basis, the foundation for who we are. And it's not just cities. There are actually over 50,000 entities in our country that issue tax-exempt bonds. 50,000. These deal with everything from the largest city, the largest state, to the smallest facilities district, sanitation district, school district. This long-standing practice of financing our cities is in many ways under assault. It's under assault as part of the budget discussions in Washington, D.C., as Congress attempts to find and the administration attempt to find new revenues, new sources, and this looks like it's low-hanging fruit. Well, it's not. And we're here to say that it is any change to this will have significant, unforeseen consequences that threaten the very fabric of the way we finance our infrastructure. The reason this is important is not only will it increase the costs of our infrastructure, but it actually puts projects at risk, which is both causes short-term damage. Fewer projects means fewer jobs, but long-term damage also. We know the one thing for certain, and it's been proven over the last 200 plus years of our nation's history. When we invest in infrastructure, we build an economy. We create a healthy economy. It's the one thing government does that has been proven time after time to return more from that investment than we spend. And it has been this way for well over 200 years. We believe this is now threatened. And so we're here to join united as leaders of these two organizations in talking about that impact. Today, both the National League of Cities and the U.S. Conference of Mayors are issuing a joint report on the impact that the elimination of the tax-exempt status of municipal bonds will have on our communities. This impact is significant in the millions of dollars. We know that this impact will be real, and we are here to not only encourage but to tell Washington, understand what you're doing. I know that's a tall task. I know that's a tall order. This goes hand in hand with what we've been saying for a long time. Cities have learned how to make smart cuts and to make smart investments. Washington has not yet gotten that message. They continue to do things that do not create the kind of economic growth they want and who continue to stifle job creation and job growth by making dumb cuts instead of smart cuts. We believe this definitely fits within that dumb cut category. I have a lot of other mayors who will be eloquent and offer information that, in addition to this, would first like to hear from our new Vice President, Sacramento Mayor Kevin Johnson. He'll be followed by second Vice President, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake of Baltimore. Mayor Johnson.
All right, thanks, Scott. Awesome. Thank you. All right, I'd like to first congratulate Scott for being President of U.S. Conference of Mayors. Going to look forward to working with you. You have big shoes to fill. I want to thank Mayor Nutter, who has done an unbelievable job of leading this organization over the last year. We've had tremendous challenges. So Mayor Nutter, thank you so much for your leadership. To all the past presidents here, thank you for the road that you've bared along the way. Executive Director Tom Cochran as well. So municipal bonds are important. You're going to hear us talking about this day in and day out. We need it. It's critical for our cities. When you talk about infrastructure and investment, our roads, our bridges, our waterways, all are impacted when we don't have the municipal bonds. So you're going to see a bipartisan effort day in and day out fighting on behalf of this. This was an incredible conference. I want to thank Vice President Biden, who came talking about job creation and economic development. Congressman Schuster talked about infrastructure. He's head of the Transportation Infrastructure Committee. You're going to see bipartisan support. He asked us to help usher a bill through and get it passed, and wants to rely on mayors to make a difference. We are honored to accept that challenge and be a part of it. The last thing I would say for me is we as mayors know you can't have a great city without great schools. Public education is going to be extremely important. We passed some very important resolutions today to push that agenda forward. So again, we need an educated workforce. We need to be able to compete globally and internationally. And this particular organization is a leader day in and day out. So again, honored to be first vice president. Mayor Smith, anything I can do to be helpful, including carrying your bags, count me in. Our second vice president, come on up. SRB. Come on up.
We joked because everyone knows him by his initials. I'm trying to, be an initial mayor as well, so we'll see. We are all here, Republicans, Democrats, leaders across the country, because we want the same thing. We want the same thing for our communities. We want jobs. We want to be able to invest in our infrastructure, and we want a safer country. And you can't work at cross purposes. So you can't have unfunded mandates that require us to meet certain standards when it comes to water and wastewater, and then cut off our ability to finance the projects that will help us meet those standards. We cannot work at cross purposes. We have to do everything that we can to keep all of the tools in our toolbox so we can fund the projects that can create the infrastructure that will make us competitive, not just for today, but in the future. The president said it himself, that we're not playing for second. But when we have second-rate airports, second-rate roads, second-rate rail, what are we doing? And when you put on the table cutting a program that allows mayors across the country to fund the programs that create jobs and fix our infrastructure, you're doing just that. You're making us play for second. I'm not interested in playing for second. No mayor up here is. We're fighting very hard against the proposed changes to the tax-free municipal bonds, and we're looking forward to some action and support from Congress. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not going to rub it.
Mayor Johnson said, yeah, and they won a Super Bowl. Minor detail. We'd now like to hear from a mayor who has taken the lead in this issue for the U.S. Conference of Mayors and has so eloquently, as you'll see, addressed this issue. Mayor Stephen Benjamin from Columbia, South Carolina. Mayor Benjamin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to the wonderful leaders of this organization for entrusting me with the responsibility of carrying the ball on this very important issue. We had the opportunity earlier this year to stand side by side with the leaders of NACO and the National League of Cities to illustrate to the people of this country exactly what was at stake as we saw an assault, quite frankly, from both ends of Pennsylvania Avenue on a relationship that has been sacrosanct to building this great federal republic over the last 200 years. In the report that many of you should have copies of from earlier this year, we show what the impact of a full repeal of the tax exemption would have on cities, would have had on cities and counties and special purpose districts across this country, as well as what the 28% cap would have had. Just to remind you, a full repeal of the tax exempt status of municipal bonds would have cost state and local governments an additional $500 billion. A 28% cap would have cost us $173 billion if you look at all the debt that has been issued under these very favorable circumstances and this relationship between the federal, state, and local governments and the capital markets over the last decade. We were all speaking in unison then on the effect it would have on our cities, as we all know that sound infrastructure investment serves as a catalyst for job growth across our communities. But we didn't have a chance yet then, and we didn't have the data to show what happens when the other shoe drops. What happens when the catalyst is no longer there. we do thank you again to the partnership with the wonderful National League of Cities. We have this report from IHS Global that now lays out exactly what type of job loss we'd see in 2012 under the 28% cap scenario, what type of job loss we'd see under the full repeal scenario. In 2012, under the 28% cap scenario, we would have lost 312,000 jobs across the United States of America, $16.4 billion in labor income, almost $25 billion in gross domestic product would have been lost with the 28% cap in place. Under the full repeal scenario, advocated by several on Capitol Hill, we would have seen 892,000 jobs lost, almost $47 billion of labor income lost, and almost $71 billion in GDP lost in 2012. It's so important, and I'm so excited that we've been able to lock arm in arms with all the organizations that have incredible interest in continuing to see America's economy grow, that we continue to be on one accord in making sure that the federal government understands that these actions, this continuing discussion, represents a disinvestment, a divestment of the federal government in making sure that our metro economies continue to grow, making sure that America gets back to work. This issue is a deal breaker. It is that important to us. And we need to make sure that we continue to remain vociferous in our opposition to changes to the federal tax code. And we stand here locked arm in arm with the National League of Cities and all of our partners in making sure that we will continue to remain front and center, working to educate all those who need to be educated, but never stop fighting along the way. This is important to America. And if it's important to our cities, believe me, it's important to each and every one of us. Thank you. I'm going to pass on back to Mr. President, and you can go ahead and do the introduction. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'd now like to introduce our partner in this effort, one of over 60 organizations that have joined together, to address this issue, to fight against these changes. One of our primary partners and the co-sponsor of this report, I'll Vanna White it, this report, the National League of Cities, my fellow Arizona Mayor, Mayor Marie Lopez Rogers, Mayor of Avondale, Arizona. Mayor Rogers.
Thank you. I just wanted to say NLC stands firm in the continuation of supporting this fight. Our message to Congress and to the President must continue to be, don't touch our bonds. This is critical to all of us. It's about the people that drive in our streets, that drink the water, that flush the toilets. It's all about their jobs and the economy that we're about to build. And we can't stop here. We must move forward. On June 26th, there was a letter to the House leaders in support of tax exemption for municipal bonds. And it will be closed June 18th. We're asking the House members, this is a bipartisan letter in support of these bonds. There's only been 56 signed on. That is ridiculous. We have to have them sign on and support the municipal bonds. We continue to be partners. We will engage as quickly as we can, and we certainly will be on the Hill next week to talk about what it is that we need for our cities. Thank you for the opportunity to partnership, and I appreciate the opportunity to serve our fellow Americans. Thank you.
You know, one thing I appreciate about Mayor Lopez Rogers is her directness. This is about the people who flush their toilets. I like that. That's it. That gets down to it. I'd now like to introduce a man who needs no introduction, but I'll give it anyway. Our former president, and I'm finding out already, Mayor Nutter, it's a lot easier standing back there and waiting than it is up here and leading this thing. So, Philadelphia Mayor Michael Nutter.
President Smith, and certainly Vice President Johnson, Vice President Rawlings Blake, and to all the mayors here, and certainly to a great leader of NLC, Mayor Lopez Rogers. A bad idea is just a bad idea. This is a bad idea. and we'll fight to the end. Thanks.
Thank you. Now you know why I don't like following his act. We always say a good soundbite is simply a good soundbite, and Mayor Michael Nutter is a machine of sound bites. Thank you. We'd now like to give our host, Mayor Carolyn Goodman, the last word in this. Mayor Goodman, you've done an incredible job. Hosting one of these meetings is not easy. It's incredibly pressure-filled. You have mayors coming in. You obviously want to show your best, the best side of your city. Mayor Goodman, you've done an incredible job. To tell you how stressful it is, in the first press conference, Carolyn Goodman walked into the room. Now she comes in on crutches. Tells you the toll it takes hosting this thing. Mayor Goodman is also playing a key role since, let me see, one of your senators, I think, has somewhat of a significant role in the United States Senator. She's worked closely with Senator Harry Reid, Senate Majority Leader, on this issue, and we'll now turn it over to Mayor Goodman.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, our former president, our vice president, second vice president. This has really been an honor for us. I do want you to know I did take one for the Gipper. We are fighting this all the way. This municipal bond issue, I've got this hammer here. But first of all, I want to say this has been a phenomenal conference, and I do hope, and I've heard, though, that we were successful. Everyone got business done, and this was bipartisan effort all the way. It's so wonderful, finally, not to have the fights go on that our party politics as usual. And it's been very exciting for us in Las Vegas to be the host, and it's refreshing to see all of these wonderful mayors leave their politics behind. As a young girl, my parents went out and bought municipal bonds to build the New Jersey Turnpike, tax-exempt municipal bonds. And I can tell you, you have to sell these bonds, and making them and leaving them tax exempt makes that happen. Here in Las Vegas, through Build America bonds, of course, our beautiful brand new City Hall, a green City Hall, gold LEED certified. And we have had not only that, but our old City Hall, they're working on that, and our brand new National Museum of Organized Crime and Law Enforcement. Build America bonds. And so it really is critical that we implore Washington. They are tightening their belts, but they can't tighten our belts. They're doing enough to constrict us in every level by not funding so many things, whether it is our Homeland Security, whether it is our CDBG ability to fund social services. The more they cut, but they cannot cut our ability to fund the public service, the buildings, the structures that we need, the roadways, everything. And so I know these wonderful mayors and our president, former president, president in waiting, we are going to fight this together because we cannot tolerate this. And I want to thank all the mayors and all their support staff. This was a total effort. Mandalay Bay, all the support staff from our city helped make this happen. And we are so proud of them and our neighboring cities in Henderson, North Las Vegas, Boulder City, Mesquite, that also joined, and our wonderful Las Vegas Visitors and Convention Authority. We're a proud city. We work hard. We get beaten down a lot, but we always get back up. And we will fight for these tax-exempt municipal bonds with every one of you and be there whatever we can do. And congratulations and thank you. And thank you all for coming to Las Vegas, Nevada, and to this beautiful, beautiful Mandalay Bay. Thank you.
All right, we'll now open it up if there's anyone who asks a question or two. I think you can see, I think we covered it pretty good. I think you can see this is one area, and there aren't many areas that you get about every mayor. I don't know of a single mayor who isn't passionate about this. You can see how personal it is, you can see how significant it is, and you can see that mayors on all sides, both sides of the aisle, independents and everything, are extremely passionate about this issue because, as we've said, This is our lifeblood. This is important. This is what makes our economy healthy and what makes us grow. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you to Las Vegas once again, Mayor Goodman. And let's go finish up and start on the next year. Thank you.